Welcome to the check-in on H&C, the show where we find out how people are coping during the lockdown and share advice and tips on how to get through it. In this show, we can't send our camera crews out at the moment, but that has not stopped me getting in touch. Coming up on this very special episode of the check-in, I catch up with dressage superstar and H&C favourite, Hester. So I am delighted to say that I've managed to get him on technology somehow. He's on Zoom. The wonderful, the amazing, I can't say enough brilliant things about him, Hester. Carl, thank you so much for being on the check-in.
It's a miracle. It is a miracle. I mean, you know, as a lot of people will know in, my age group, technology is something we're all suddenly having to learn very quickly to keep in touch with everybody. And Zoom is, Zoom's only a week old to me. So the fact that I'm actually here talking to you is a miracle, I have to say.
That's wonderful to hear from you. Last time I saw you, I was doing some filming at your yard. We were allowed to say hi, but from a distance. Now I'm not even allowed to come to your yard. How is Team Hester? How's the yard? How are you? Are you okay? No symptoms? You've not been poorly? How's it going?
We're fine on the yard. I mean, since, as you said, it doesn't seem that long ago that you were here. And in fact, it was probably just a couple of days after that we must have gone into the lockdown.
Yeah.
I'm lucky, because Alan lives on site and a couple of the girls as well. So they are here. We're all locked in together. And we manage. And I mean, as a lot of people will probably agree with me, having time to reflect and just think about the future and think about what's important. And when I was looking at life this year before this happened, I was tearing my hair out, about how the year was going to be, and it was going to be another stressful year because of the Olympics and normal feelings that you get at the beginning of a year. And, this has happened. I have an outside life. I can still walk around my field with the dogs and still be with the horses. So from that point of view, I have plenty of time to think about the future and, where it might be and where it might go. And, I feel desperately sorry for a lot of my friends who cannot get to their horses, who can't be with them. And a lot of my family who don't even, have a garden. My mum's in South Africa. It's pretty terrifying where she lives down there because, of course, the townships are so poor. And, she's been broken into in the middle of the night. And, things like that are happening, around us. But, here I have to say, I'm very lucky to be able to continue life fairly normally.
And I remember when I filmed with you on Rudall Rides With, we spoke about your beautiful house and the land you've got, and you have worked really, really hard throughout your life to create your little bubble, haven't you? And this must be one of the first times ever you've been able to actually stay at home and enjoy it.
You're so right. I mean, I am a home person. My star sign is a Cancerian, so I know, whether you believe in stars or not, I feel that, mine are fairly typical of me. I'm a homebody. I love it. And I've always, promised myself that after this Olympics, which I have done after many Olympics, I might add, but I have promised myself this time, you will enjoy home. This year you've got to give it up, get out there. And then, the rest of your time, you can actually be at home and enjoy it. And yes, I love it here. It's a little oasis, as you know, with the river running past the house and, with all my birds and, I mean, to be honest, which I might do, but if I put my phone outside my window at 4 o'clock in the morning here, I mean, the noise is incredible of the wildlife and the birds and my peacocks. It's that time of year where they're starting to get a little bit fruity and, I've got a rookery outside the house. So the bird noise here is so intense. And I love it, I love nature, and I'm used to hearing it. I mean, remembering where I come from, Sark has no cars, it has no street lights, nights were, where you heard all the animals and it was always dark, and it's kind of a little bit gone back to that for me, really.
And you, talking of your birds, last time I was with you, you gave me some eggs, which were delicious, by the way. I was very pleased when everyone was stockpiling eggs. I had some of Carl Hester's. So from that front, you must be like, right, girls, you're finally paying me back.
Well, they are, and you know what? I mean, I'm battling with the crows who are going in there and pecking the eggs open. I'm battling with my dogs who have figured out how to get into the hen house and take. There are eggs all around this property, smashed on the floor. But last week, as you know, it's been Equestrian bake-off, and part of my challenge was baking and art. But for my challenge, I had to bake some cakes, and I thought I'm not a baker, so I'm going to go for quantity, not quality. So I just tried every recipe that I could find in a book. But you know what, some of these, when you have, home laid eggs, the color of the cakes were like daffodils. I mean, they're incredible. It's really, the things that you don't think about, but I mean, these homegrown organic eggs, they're just delicious. And, also we don't know what the future is completely, of course, yet. I know the shops are all stocked, but I love the fact I can live a little bit from my land.
Yeah.
And, a bit of a vegetable patch going, and the chickens and, the guinea fowl, but I could never eat one, but I mean, I can look at them, but, there's a lot going on around me.
And we have to talk about equestrian relief. Team Dressage did not win. You guys, you've done painting and baking for yours. And I have seen your painting. Oh my goodness, Carl. I was really impressed. I think you were robbed. I thought it was brilliant.
I don't even know who judged that. I mean, this is the funny thing when we're talking about technology.
Well, as it stands, Team Dressage are 5th. And I think that might be the final result.
Right.
But that's not last.
No, and I have to say, it's in the spirit of things. And it's been great fun to be challenged for something you don't normally do. And the reality is, at the end of the day, we are trying to make money for the NHS. So I'm actually, of course I'm competitive, we all are competitive, but this was one thing that I felt, well, if I don't win this is actually probably right that I wouldn't win it. But I gave a tour for the yard here to come and meet Valegro and Utopia, and Nina texted me this morning and said that's already gone over £4,000 in the bidding. The great thing is with the baking, I think, as well, I mean, obviously we can't send these things in. I mean, it's all about how it looks, not how it tastes. And, I have to say that was a pretty solid banana cake going up to the yard the next day. It looked quite good. It was slightly burnt on the table, and I said, oh God, is there any way when we take a picture, can we put a little sort of filter over it, make it look a little bit creamier? But Lucy said, nope, this will be your picture.
No, there's no sense.
It did look beautifully risen, but it did taste a little bit solid, I might add.
And we have to talk about the Olympics. There's no getting around it. It has been postponed. You said you weren't going to do another one. And obviously Dell and you were looking pretty much like you were going to another Olympics, and Charlotte as well. But it's been put off for a year. It's a great decision. It had to happen. But for our horses and for Dell and for Charlotte's horses, obviously quite a lot younger, is it the end of the world, or is that actually another year to prepare? How are you guys looking at it?
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely a positive way to look at it. When I look at the team ages of these horses, they are young. I mean, Freestyle is 11 and Dell is 12. Well, I mean, they have another 2 Olympics in them. So, I think from our point of view, it won't do any harm whatsoever. I would feel sorry as of the group, obviously for Spencer with Supernova. That seems to really be coming up pretty fast again this year, looking great. That obviously, age, who knows, 18 next year is going to be pretty old to go there, but it's possible. And then, of course, with Laura, with her young mare coming along, that looks like a fantastic horse. I pretty much felt early on in the beginning when it was announced, I felt uncomfortable from the point of view that, I was more worried. I am more worried about my family and my friends rather than going to the Olympics. Yeah. And I'm lucky enough to be able to say that, and I can say it because I've already done 5. So if I didn't go to one, it's not the end of the world. I mean, who's going to remember whether I did 5 or 6? That's what my friends say to me. What are you worried about? It's true. You know, but obviously for those people that haven't been or are desperate to go, you know, that must be, you know, it's a big knock for them. But I mean, for me, it was fairly easy early on. I thought, you know, I'm uncomfortable with this, and consequently it was cancelled. So, you know, it turned out the right way.
And talking of you having been to a lot of Olympics, and someone, and we've got to go on to it, I think, Phil, we have to mention him, someone who gave you an opportunity to be one of the youngest riders at an Olympics was Dr. B, who we very sadly lost recently. You mentioned Laura there, who's obviously was aiming for the Olympics. That must have been really sad news for you, and obviously we send our love out to Laura and her family.
Yeah, huge sympathies to the family. Yes, very sad for me. You know, he gave me my start, he gave me my break. Not only did he do that for me, but he taught me a lot of values in life as well, I think, you know, about, you know, looking after other people, about giving other people opportunities, which I've tried to, you know, live by through my life. You know, my family are non-horsey. It would virtually have been a non-starter for me, I feel, to have made it, you know, without somebody picking me up, backing me, helping me. You know, it's true to say when he took me on, I mean, I literally was, you know, didn't have a job then, and I had no money at all. And, you know, he took me from a very raw teenager and educated me and gave me this amazing opportunity. And we laughed a lot. I mean, we did laugh. You know, they were very funny, the doctor and his wife, when I worked there. We did, you know, when we talk about the stories of the things I used to do, stupid things, but I mean, the things we used to have a laugh. You know, when I left, it was a little bit difficult for a while, because of course I was very young, and I decided after 3.5 years I'd had enough and I wanted to go alone, and they were disappointed. But I think, you know, subsequently the fact I stuck with it and went on, you know, they were also very proud of me and how it turned out, and I was very happy as well, of course, in the end, to see that they did this for other riders after me. But I think most importantly, you know, Laura fulfilled their dream. You know, their own flesh and blood and child, you know, grew up to be an Olympic rider and won. You know, we were all on that team in London winning gold. I mean, that must have been very surreal for him, because I mean, you know, there was only 3 of us on the team. Yeah. And 2 of us, you know, he had produced and mounted on horses, and then see us to go and win that must have been pretty special for him. And it's a very, you know, it's a very sad time for all of British dressage, because he did so much for the sport, not just for me, but the whole of British dressage will be missing him.
So I recently was digging around to put some books, and I was thinking before this, is Carl with some downtime going to write another book? Now, this is one of the proudest things that has happened ever in my life, because as you know, Carl, as I always say to you, I had pictures of you on my wall growing up. I literally hero worshipped you, and then when I was so excited, my mum couldn't believe it. And then page number 235, I'm actually in your book, which makes me, you actually were filming the Euro.
I did pick those pictures.
Jenny Rudall. Right there.
There you go.
I'm so, it's like the proudest thing that's ever happened to me. But are you getting any downtime? Is there a volume 2 or quite a lot's happening?
Well, I mean, there could be, of course, another part still to come. I mean, that finished, I think we finished that book from 2013.
Yeah, must be something.
So yes, of course, that life went on to Barney Niptuck 2014 World Games, and then another Olympics, and then Delicato. So there's plenty more stories. There's always plenty more stories. I can see that you've obviously got a Jenny Cooper behind you, so you're obviously quite into your stories as well.
Can I just say, a good spot, because you're the only person who spotted that sneaky little number up there, and I was interviewing Jeff Billington, and he didn't even notice it.
Well, it all depends. Of course, it all depends on eyesight, and it also depends on the sort of thing that you're into reading. I think I could spot the cover, because I think I read that when I was on holiday one time.
But didn't you?
Also, I was very lucky enough.
Didn't you know Jenny Cooper as well?
Yeah, she is, well, Roly Luard, who is in my book, obviously, who owns Valegro, she lived next door to Gilly Cooper. So I've met Gilly a few times. And she is godmother to Roly's son. And when he was 18, we all were invited to his birthday party. And she's a very charismatic, friendly lady. I mean, it makes you feel like, you know, you've known her all your life. Lots of hugging and kissing, and she loves the boys, absolutely loves the boys. And she did this wonderful, rousing speech, and this, in fact, was in 2012 after Valegro had won his gold. And Ginny loves her horses, obviously, as well. So she was there for her godson to do the speech, but she also made this wonderful speech to Roly. And I think, you know, she obviously, you know, so close to having sex on the brain, you know, when she did her speech to congratulate Roly, she said, "Congratulations to the wonderful Viagra." So missed out the L. Of course, she was meant to say Valegro, but he came out as Viagra. So that caused a great laugh in the room. And she was actually horrified she'd said it, I think, in public. But it made a good story.
And talking of Valegro, Blueberry, how is he? Is he all right? Is he like everyone's staying at home?
He's wonderful. I mean, they both are. Him and Utopia, you know, are stablemates. They're next to each other. They have their own retirement home on the yard, but just the two of them. You know, they've really taken to retirement, the pair of them, as in they have the mornings out in the orchard together. They do get ridden 3 or 4 times a week, and the girls are lucky enough to have, I allow them to do 2 lessons a week. Yeah. So the girls here, of course, are super, super happy because they are riding, you know, 2 gold medalists. And these horses still perform like they did 8 years ago. You know, they are incredible, they're fit, they're sound, they love just doing a couple of days a week, they're still very excited about working. So they've got a great retirement, and just, you know, the orchard is behind my house. So in fact, in the morning, you know, when I go into the bathroom, I can see the pair of them out there. And it's just a dream for me because, you know, I love the fact that they are horses. And that they, you know, they started life as horses in a field and they finished life as horses in a field. And hopefully they'll go on for many years. I mean, they're still very popular. You know, people, you know, we have tours booked all through the year, which sadly probably won't happen now, but, you know, of yard tours and people coming here just to meet, you know, the start to meet those two, really. I mean, and as I said earlier, the Equestrian Relief, one of my gifts was to come here. I mean, somebody's paid over £4,000 as of this morning just to come and visit these horses, which is just, you know, an incredible thing that they still do. Valegro, unfortunately, his statue was about to be opened in Ewan by Zara Tyndall. Zara was going to do that for us. The unveiling of his bronze, which was due, I think, in about 2 weeks. 2 weeks yesterday. So that's all cancelled now. So he'll have his moment. So he'll be down our local town at some point this summer, hopefully, when it does get unveiled, for him to see himself in bronze. Yeah.
He's such a special horse. And also we've got on Horse and Country, we've got Fantastic Elastic, which is a little bit older now. You're a slightly younger version of you, wearing a very fetching kind of cricket jumper.
It's a hideous jumper. That's so funny you say that. That's the one, you know, we started back in those days with the At Home with Carl Hester. And I quite enjoy watching those. There's nothing too sort of cringy on them. You know, it's absolutely, you know, my dad's an actor, and you know, he always used to say, as all actors do, I don't watch myself on television. And when you do, you know, you do tend to pick on the cringy minutes. And the Fantastic Elastic bit, you know, is cringy for me. So I haven't probably looked at that for many years.
So funny because you are very handsome, but that jumper does nothing for you. But luckily what comes out of your mouth is superb.
I mean, you know, if I looked at a picture of that then, I mean, I actually would feel I've lost about 4 stone since those days. That's how that jumper used to make me look.
It's funny, isn't it? Yeah. Also, what you do see in that is a very young Charlotte and a 6-year-old Valegro. And you said this horse has been a champion 4-year-old, a champion 5-year-old, champion 6-year-old. He's got a canter that's like the wall of death. But you knew he was a superstar, and it was just so extraordinary how you just knew that horse was different even back then, and to see him at that age.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? I mean, I think it probably was because, you know, his way of picking things up was so different than many other horses. You know, he never stressed about learning anything. Nothing fazed him. You know, he only ever wanted to work. He only ever wanted to please, and he only ever wanted to be good. And I think probably most horses want to be good, but a lot of them become a little bit more difficult when they don't understand what the rider or the trainer is asking of them. And you think they don't want to be good, but they just don't understand it. But Valegro had a very simple process of learning from Charlotte and I, and he just kept picking things up.
I still, though, I think, because obviously when I first came into this, I had to watch all the dressage and had to really get into it. And obviously Valegro's given me so many memories and watching you guys. But still, that moment on Utopia where the crowd gasped and you were going, is there a pigeon? And it's Rotterdam, the Europeans. Still, for me, whenever I think of top level competition and my favourite memories, that's still got to be it, because it was just one of the funniest moments for me in dressage. Just you like, what?
Well,
you're getting 10.
You know what? I mean, it's because I hadn't won an individual medal then.
Yeah.
And, you know, so I went into that championship just presuming it would be like any other championship. I would come somewhere, but not in the top 3. And of course, I'd had Utopia all of his life, or since he was 4 years old. So I was used to hit the feeling he gave me. So his feeling was for me quite normal. But of course, then to expose him to the world like that, and because as with every rider that brings up a horse, you know, you have a confidence from the training and the amount of years together. So I just went in that test and I just like literally squeezed him dry. Like, come on, off we go, UT. You know, I'm going to ask you the same questions I do at home at the same power and the same speed. And he flew around that test. He was 10 years old. He flew around that test like it was a dawdle in the park. He didn't make an error. And the next thing I know, I've won the Grand Prix at the European Championship. And I was like, and that's why when I walked out and I was looking around, like looking at what was everyone laughing at. And because of course this horse just stormed in, you know, and he got, you know, that last extended trot I did, which I remember very well when I heard the crowd gasp, and because it had gone up 7/10s.
Yeah.
And of course I didn't know that because I'm on the inside of the arena and all the marks are on the outside. So when everyone started laughing, I was like, you know, I thought my britches split. You know, is there a dove in the arena, or you know, what is everybody thinking so funny? And then I come out, and as I'm walking out, you know, my score flashes up, you know, and I'd won. And it was really, really, really special. But one of the best competitions of my life.
I won't keep you any longer, but I do have to ask how your gorgeous, I saw on Instagram, your gorgeous boxer puppy, Prue, chasing sprinklers. It's just moments like that you've got to be grateful for.
Yeah, well, you know, people often say to you, you know, I mean, we got a boxer called Gus.
Yeah.
And he came from the rescue, boxer rescue. And he's a very sweet, quiet, fairly laid-back character. 2 years later, we, you know, get a telephone call saying, from Boxer Rescue again, saying we actually have his full sister from this year's litter that's been given in, needing a home. And I was like, well, if she's anything like her brother, we'll be well away. Anyway, I mean, you've heard the rumours about boxers, you know, they're as mad as a box of frogs. And Prue is literally nuts compared to him. And she's disgusting, and she's dirty, and she's loving and kind. I can't help but love her, but she does drive you nuts. Yeah, you know, the sprinklers come on, she's literally like bites the head off them. You know, when she thinks I'm not looking, she grabs hold of my peacock's tail and I hear him screaming, and I run around the corner and she sees me and runs a mile. She knows she's not supposed to do all these things. But she's loving, and she's, yeah, I wouldn't be without her now.
Oh, as always, it's such a pleasure talking to you. I miss you. I miss not being able to come and see you, but thank you so much for being on the show. And it's just wonderful, and it's good to see you looking so well, and the horses are happy, and we just have to think about everyone at this time and the NHS, and you've done your bit raising a ton of money with Equestrian Relief. So thank you so much for doing that. And I just really want you guys to stay safe and happy, and hopefully we'll all come through this.
I just want to say, you know, as well to everybody out there, you know, it'd be lovely to catch up again when we all can. Of course, we all know at the moment it's like this. I'm sorry that, you know, you couldn't have come here, because we always have such a nice time when we do these interviews. But this is a novel way of doing it, and it's obviously a safe way of doing it. So, you know, for now, you know, it's great still to be able to communicate, and you know, just wish everybody well, and hope that they can get back with their horses soon.
And it just shows, Carl, you can learn new things, even learning Zoom.
Yes, I know. Exactly. I'm grateful for that.
Thanks, Carl. See you soon.
Okay, bye.